awkward opening ever.
I don't know. Welcome to our unapologetic era. I don't know. I mean, we're going into episode 8 now. I don't know if I'll ever get it right, but I mean, it just fits with our personality. Like, we're sometimes prepared, sometimes we're not, and sometimes we just roll into it.
You know, I was given some advice that maybe we should rethink the name, and because it is a mouthful, and I agree it is a mouthful, but my mother of all people the other day actually used it. She said, she was like, you know, at this age, I'm unapologetic. And I was like, Mom, is it your era? And she was like, I think it is. It's my era. I just don't care. And I was like, okay, I don't think we can change it. Like, it's working.
I'm totally fine with it. I mean, it fits where we're at in our life. But it is interesting that your mom says that because we're early 40s and we're not going to say how old your mom is, but
she's not early 40s.
Right.
That actually what we discussed that because I said, you get it. And she said, I could have never done that at your age, though. And she was talking about, it was a social media thing, actually. She was telling an old friend from high school or something, hello or something, and I think they're married, and she didn't do anything wrong. But what she was saying was, she was like, I don't care anymore. Like, if I want to tell somebody something and I want to message them, I'm going to. And I was like, yeah, Mom, you should. You're not doing anything wrong. And she was like, at your age, I could have never done that. And I'm like, why? So
we're ahead of the game then.
I don't know. It's probably social media again.
Generational. Like, I mean, I mean,
she is a boomer through and through.
She doesn't feel that old.
Spend a few minutes with them.
We're rolling to first, guys, with our EX-CAPADES today of, haven't joined us before, the red flags when we should have left and we didn't and we stayed, or the experiences we had with our exes that are just outrageous and ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, I can tell preferences with this one is that I was on the way out the door when I did this, and but it was just like, I'm not a vengeful person, but it was just like, I want you to be aware that I know this is happening. So my ex, towards the last couple years of the relationship, would not necessarily straight out cheat, but was eventually admittedly he did, but would solicit photos from women.
When you say solicit, do you mean like for free, or did he pay for them?
He didn't pay for them. Okay. These are people he knew.
Okay.
He just maybe worked with.
He just wanted a new view.
He just needed a new view. Yeah. And they didn't live, they lived far away, other states, or, like different area code. Yeah. And so this one particular woman was sending pictures like every single day, like every day, sending pictures. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can see it.
Yeah.
Because I see it come across on his iPad at home while he was at work. So I'm like, you know what? I'm fucking done with this. I'm just done. So what I started doing was I would take those pictures.
Wait, I have a question first.
Sure.
Did you try to address it before you got to this point?
I had been addressing it for like a year. So at that point I said, screw it. I'm done addressing it. It's not going to change.
Ew. Okay.
Like, I was just done addressing it. Okay. Like, I don't, so obviously he wasn't going to change. So what I started doing so that he would know I would know is I started taking the pictures and I would what's the word? Not reincarnate, but
oh, golly, you messed me up by saying reincarnate.
I would reenact
the
photos.
Exactly what you did.
So I would take these pictures, take the bra and the underwear and the backgrounds and everything that these women had on or didn't have on, or made sure, and I would take that photo and send it to him as myself.
Yeah.
So I would reenact these photos and literally match to the T the same position the woman was in, the same colors, the same everything.
That's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. But it was like he wasn't going to change, and I wanted him to see that I could see this, and see if, not that I would even care if he said anything to me, but it was just my ex-capade.
And he never admitted it.
Never admitted it. Absolutely not. Like, gaslighted.
To this day, because now it's been 10 years.
Yeah, no. To this day, no, never. Or maybe he's just too stupid to even realize.
I wonder if you noticed.
How would you? But
Okay, so whenever you would send the pictures, how did he respond? Was he like, ooh?
Yeah, typical male response, like, oh,
Can't wait
yeah.
to get home.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gross.
Yeah. But I would make sure I was sending them within like a couple of hours of him receiving the first one.
I have so many questions, but I need him here to be like, can you explain to me like what was happening? Like, did you notice the picture came through, but you didn't have time to like actually look at it? So you saw Ashley's first, and then maybe later was like, oh,
No, I would see his responses to hers because it was still on the iPad coming through. So I would see.
Golly,
So
sometimes I'm envious of how like not intelligent your exes are.
So yeah, I would actually go through and send these to him, and just to be like, fuck you. I can see what's happening and you're not going to change. So I just want to make sure you know I know.
Okay. All right. Well, that kind of actually leads into mine also. And no judgment. No judgment. My only thing is I think that I would get tired of like the no acknowledgement thing. That would get old after a while. I don't think I can handle it. That would piss me off.
Well, let me say, like, after that started happening, I was out of that relationship probably within 3
You were
months.
already emotionally and mentally
I was done. Yeah. I was, by the time then I was gone. Like maybe 3 months, if even that long, of 2 or 3 months, and I was out the door.
Okay, well that makes sense with mine too. So with mine, it happened after we had actually officially separated. Like we weren't together anymore, but we were still kind of going back and forth a little bit. You know, that like in between thing. But I knew that it was over. Didn't matter. Anyway, he came over and he had sexy time with me, and he and everything was fine. And then all of a sudden he looked at his phone and he was like, I have to go home and take care of the girls. The girls were the dogs that we had together. And I was like, you've never gone home to take care of the dogs ever. When like you really needed to, you didn't go home and take care of the dogs. So like, what's really going on? And he kind of freaked out and he kind of panicked and he got weird and he took off. And I was like, I am going to find out what it is that he's hiding. So I followed him to his place. And I went up to the door to knock on the door. First, I recognized that there was a dog in the house that was not his dog. And I was like, whose dog is that? And of course, like in this day and age, you're texting also. It's not like you just knock and wait. So like you're texting and I'm getting responses from the text messages. So I'm like, who's the dog? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm looking at the dog. There's a dog here that's not your dog. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Also, I can see through the glass door him sitting on his sofa in like basketball shorts, like shorts and a t-shirt. And I'm like eating like a sandwich or something. And so I'm like, I can see you. Will you answer the door? And he's completely ignoring me. And not only ignoring me physically, but texting back and saying, I'm not there. And I'm like, I'm looking at you. I'm literally looking at you. And he's like, no, I'm not there. And I'm like, am I losing my mind?
Why didn't you just take a picture of him and send it to him?
Okay, like, I'm not that smart. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't do that, or at least even the dog that's like barking at me at the window.
Send him a pitch like this is happening.
I will say, like, I only sent one text of me saying I can see you in the living room before he decided to get up, walk across the living room, which means I saw him walk across the living room, turn the light off, and go into his bedroom. Where then he continued to claim that he could not see me, or that I couldn't see him because he wasn't there. And so I went around to the back of his house where his windows were. And that's whenever I realized, oh, there's a female in here. There's a female in the bedroom. And I don't know if he like left her there whenever he was at my house. Y'all got to remember, he was just at my house. He was just at my house having sexy time with me. And now there's a girl in his bedroom. And he left from a text. So like, did the girl text him like, where are you at? And like, he went there? Like what?
And wait, maybe she was just taking a nap, and
that's what I'm saying. Like,
she's like, "Wait, I woke up. Where are you?"
I swear that has crossed my mind.
Hey, that's a good point. Is that she was not fulfilling what he needed at the moment, so he came and got the good shit from you, and then got fulfilled, and he's going back.
I did want to let her know there wasn't enough time for him to like clean himself, like shower. So I did knock on the window, and I was like, "Hey guys, I can hear y'all in there. I can hear you whispering in there, and I just want to let the girl know where he's been for, hygiene reasons." And of course, then they tried to be more quiet. But I did hear the ex say, if she doesn't go away soon enough, I'll call the police. And technically, I was trespassing, so that was my time to exit.
Right, you weren't just at the front door anymore.
No, I was knocking on the bedroom window. And yes, this is embarrassing to tell because that is the point of EX-CAPADES. The dumbass shit that not only did we deal with, but that we did, and then we continued to. Because I mean, I know I hooked up with him again after that. And oh, by the way, to this day, if he was sitting in here with us right now, he would laugh at the story and then say, "Yeah, I wasn't there."
Photographic proof.
Absolutely there. I have no idea what girl was there. I kind of wish I did so that like I could tell her this side of the story and laugh about it
right
at this point. But you know, that poor girl, she probably was like taking a nap. For all I she was probably cleaning in his bathroom or something. Something I was doing whenever I was the new girl. And didn't know where he was.
When you were delusional in this area.
I don't know. Like, look, y'all, I think maybe I need to be more delusional. I think I'm quite self-aware. I can be a dummy, but I'm self-aware. And sometimes I wish I wasn't.
Want a dummy or self-aware?
Self-aware. I don't mind living in a dummy world because it's like, I'm just dumb, you know, like whatever. But the self-aware part, and then you continue to do dumb stuff. That's kind of hard to live with.
Well, it's got like so if this, I mean, that's a toxic person and a toxic trait that they do. So like that's
an understatement,
right? Toxic people in the reality that they don't even admit the truth to themselves.
Yeah, no, it's definitely his own reality for whatever reason.
Right. It's like the distorted facts of, I mean, is that gaslighting of what he did? Like, I'm not here.
Yeah, he's gaslighting. Like, and I did actually. I'm like, am I hallucinating? Like, I can see him
even distorting your reality of the scenario of.
Yeah, no, definitely gaslighting. And the crazier thing about it is that like I'm saying, if we were sitting here right now and he was in the room with us, he would laugh with us. Like, yeah, that's a funny story, but still not admit. Like, the man's gonna go to his grave with that lie.
It didn't happen.
Yeah,
and like I had the same ex I was talking about earlier. It's like it's always a half truth. So. In his reality, like he'll say, okay, so like the location was correct, but everything else in his whole entire story is going to be completely lies.
Yeah.
And in his distorted mind, he thinks I told the truth. Like he thinks that he's like, just because he had one truth and 20 lies that follow it, he literally, as a toxic person, thought, oh, I told the truth. I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's just disturbing.
I don't even know what to say about that because I know exactly what you mean. And I'm so opposite as just a person in general. And I've learned over the years to not say so much because I've always been the type of person that I tell too much. And I'm too much of an open book. Some things I need to keep to myself. But it was like I've said this before in other episodes that I have like this fear of being considered a liar or somebody who's not honest. But what that ends up doing in turn is that I trust people who shouldn't be trusted. And I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. We just had a guy that was, the guy in Mississippi that got arrested. I didn't trust him though. But I still gave him more grace than he deserved.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
That's a good story.
That's another one we don't even have time for. But like, yeah, these toxic people, they're creating their own narrative in their head that is not reality. And you're looking at yourself and it's like, wait, did that happen? Or did that not happen? And then it's, again, a whole mind fuck.
Yeah, well, and then I still, to this day, I might have asked you about this recently, like personally, like phone call. I'm like, am I the narcissist? Am I the bad person? Am I sure I'm not the bad? Am I actually a delusional? And I'm so delusional, I don't know I'm delusional. Am I? Like, and then they have the whole thing about like, and we've said this before too, the whole thing about if you're asking yourself, then you're not.
Right.
Well, what if I just know that? Like, come on now. Why do I live like that? Because somebody fucked with my head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody should be sitting around going, am I crazy and don't know it?
It's because they're denying their own behavior and then turning around and blaming you for what they did. And then it just screws you up.
Well, I'm going to say it. I'm a genuine person. And so for me, I just cannot comprehend someone being so backwards. So then it makes me go, well, look at yourself, Leah. Look inward. Like, make sure this isn't you. Make sure you aren't. And that's how I ended up in my situation that I ended up in after my first divorce, where I was like emotionally and I was abused and pushed down and so broken. And it was because I was being told, man, he diagnosed me with borderline personality disorder via YouTube.
That's same scenario
and
with
then
me.
Watch the videos.
Yeah, they're like, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you.
He like got teary eyed. He got teary eyed and was like, I figured it out. I know what's wrong with you. And I'm like, oh my God, like how could I have gone so many years not knowing how screwed up I am?
Because they mind fucked you to believe that they were this.
And the whole time he's doing what he was doing. So
he's deflecting. That's what they do.
He did a great job.
They deflect.
I mean, like, so good.
Oh, it's miraculous. But yeah, he's deflecting to take it off of him, what he was doing, and making you feel like the person that was to blame.
Yeah.
But that goes into like what
I'm laughing because I was thinking about how hard it is to diagnose something like borderline personality disorder and narcissism. I mean, like, people have to specialize in these things.
Right.
And one of his biggest complaints was that I wasn't sexual. I was not taking care of his sexual needs. But one of the biggest traits of borderline personality disorder is using your sexual being as a way to manipulate the opposite sex. Like, I just thought, I'm like, what?
Wait, so he was saying that you were using your body to manipulate.
It's just one of the main traits of borderline personality disorder is using your sexual being, like whatever your sexual, as a way to manipulate the opposite sex or whoever. It could be same sex, I guess.
Yeah.
But his biggest complaint in therapy, because we were in therapy, his biggest complaint in therapy was that I wasn't fulfilling his sexual needs. I wasn't fulfilling anybody else's.
Right.
So who was I being so sexual with?
Well, shoot. One of my exes did the same exact thing. I wasn't fulfilling his needs. So that's why, again, with the EX-CAPADES, he was asking other women for photos to get the attention I wasn't giving him. But that's deflecting. You're deflecting, blaming me for your fucked up behavior.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
I was told that I've had to go to the extremes that I've gone to satisfy myself because you have neglected me so tremendously. This is how far I had to go to get an arousal.
Yeah.
That is actually that was actually told to me.
It's insane. So so with all of that, being said, and like, what are the long-term effects that you have experienced?
Well, one, I sit around going, am I crazy? I mean, like,
daily?
Seriously.
Like on a daily, do you?
Not on a daily, but I definitely have my moments for sure. And I mean, there's other things that have happened along the way that have hurt my confidence in myself. But that for sure. And then I had trust issues, like major trust issues.
Eroding your self-esteem. Like, it's just.
Yeah. And it's stolen my innocence, which is weird because I wasn't innocent. Was married and living life, but it absolutely stole my innocence. I would love to go back to I don't want to be that person. I like knowing what I know, but I don't want to know the dirty stuff. Like, there's this dark side of the world that I didn't know about, that now I do know about, that I kind of really wish I could go back to just not knowing anything about.
Yeah, that they existed. That
it was a real thing that people lived with.
Do you have, did it increase anxiety for you? Did it increase,
what? Are you serious? Okay, so remember how I said, like, I've learned over the years to not say so much? Mm-hmm. Right whenever it happened, I went to, like, an extreme say everything all the time because I was so afraid of being considered a liar because I was being told you're, like, living this double life and pretending to be something that you're not.
Right.
So I was, like, word vomit all the time. Like, like, if I felt it, I said it. And I don't mean, like, rude things at all. It was overly nice is what it was. It was like, let me make sure I clarify that if this came out a certain way, this is how I meant it. It was like text tone correction on steroids. Like,
oh, that's such a trauma response.
Yes. And I did that for the longest time. I also had this weird trigger because I never drank whenever I was in that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I did start drinking a little bit. Shouldn't have, but did. And I would have these uncontrollable crying sessions that happened whenever I would drink, and also when I would go into the gym to work out.
Is it like a defense mechanism that's coming down when you're drinking, and so it like overexerts?
Like a loss of control for whatever reason, like something that I was keeping under wraps or controlling.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, I guess I could guess why the drinking would cause it, but the working out, it was like as my heart rate would come up and as I would push myself physically, emotionally, I was completely triggered.
That's insane. Like the drinking I get to, like what you're saying, but the working out, it's the exhaust of the body. And that's funny because like the health problems that I had, and like we haven't touched on this, like if y'all ever pay attention to me, like I have to read from my phone and like as we're talking and things like that because my memory loss is so bad for my PTSD. But I've also actually experienced such extreme health problems that in this, past years, like I've had 2 strokes.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even, touched based on those things that are happening. And they're all correlated to experiences within a certain amount of allocated time that I'm having to interact with certain people and that are causing high stress levels. So physiologically, my body's reacting on a way that you can't control.
Right.
Like with the crying or the, you know.
I mean, you could try to, you can do therapy, you can read books, you can pray, you can meditate, but your body is doing what it's going to do.
Right. And you can't control it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's how the
and like having 2 strokes is just, there's nothing I could, like, it's just insane to me. I can't even fathom in my brain that I get pissed off at myself that I'm letting someone control me so much still to this day, but it's physiological and my body's just doesn't know how else to react anymore.
If we hadn't had children with these particular relationships that we're discussing, I don't think that we would still be being physically affected the same way we are now, but we did. And so you have to continue to have these people in your life. I mean, narcissism in general is so popular now to talk about. You can read anywhere, like gray rock people, and you cut like a strong cutoff and you never speak to them again. Well, if you have to co-parent with somebody, you have to co-parent with somebody.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you and I's ultimate goal is to raise our children as best as we can.
Yeah. And
so how do you do that without continuing to kill yourself?
Literally killing yourself. Yeah.
That's been a challenge that I haven't figured. I mean, when I say I haven't figured it out, it's because I don't have an answer, but I've learned how to navigate life.
Right.
Around it.
But you shouldn't have to navigate.
No.
Like it should.
No.
We should have the ability to be happy and healthy and not have PTSD and trauma responses. And
it's extremely embarrassing to me too to admit that I have PTSD, clinically diagnosed PTSD from a relationship.
Yeah.
Like it makes me feel like a weaker person and not like, and I hate the idea, like I hate the whole thing about like being a victim or a survivor. Like, no. Like this was just part of my life. I didn't ask for it to happen to me, but it did. And how can I make something good out of it now? And that's why we're here and that's why we do this. We laugh and we joke about living in our unapologetic era, but you and I have fought very hard to get to this point.
Absolutely.
Where we feel safe enough to sit here and speak about these experiences. Because not only are we embarrassed that we allowed it to happen to us, but we don't know what could still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
That's how we got here, peeps.
Yep.
And I'm
there's a deep dive. Yeah. Oh.
Don't be stroking out on me over there.
I'm just gonna have a panic attack and pass out in like 3 seconds. It's fine. It gives me even talking about my chest is tightening, and even like the thought of even talking about it and exploring of what we're talking about, and we're on episode 8 at this point, guys. But it's it's still I can't control this. And physiologically, I feel my chest tightening and I feel harder to breathe, and you shouldn't have to live that way.
Nobody should. And the thing about this particular, and I think it's becoming more, well, of course, with social media and the internet and stuff, things are more open there for people to get to and understand. This particular type of abuse that we both endured, though, there's not enough recovery in it in general.
Or understanding from people.
Yeah, I think people just sit in it.
Yeah.
And stay in it.
Because they're not giving others enough grace to talk about it and heal from it. And so people just sit, like you're saying, and just...
Well, because in some ways, the abuser never stops. The abuse doesn't stop and the abuser doesn't stop because that is their identity. It's not the same as okay, I'm going to say this lightly. I'm treading lightly by saying this because I could be very wrong. But it doesn't seem like it is the same as somebody who's just a beater, like a physical beater. Because you can get away from them. I can't escape this.
You can't escape the manipulation and the mind fucks and the constant emotional abuse. Absolutely. You were right.
And I'm not a game player. And all of a sudden I'm playing the hard. I'm like in this freaking Super Bowl. Not prepared.
Gold medalist coming in.
Yeah. We're in the World Series and I play T-ball.
Oh, God. Well, that's, we're going to wrap up this episode. There. Okay. That was a lot to handle at one time.
Sorry.
Let me go walk away before I throw up right now. But thank you guys for joining us. Subscribe, like.
Please subscribe.
Even give us some comments every once in a while. Like, hey, you know.
Yeah, I love when people comment. Even if you don't have something nice to say, comment. Because that's how we're going to get better at this.
Right, exactly. I have no problems with it. Give me the good, bad, ugly. But we still love you no matter what. Thanks for joining our Unapologetic era.
Peace out, homie.
Bye.
Bye, Alicia.